and where down we go, 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 go. Oh, where down we go, 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 go. So where down we go, 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 way down we go. Oh, you let your feet run wild. Time has come as we all go down. Yeah, but for the fall, ooh, my heart, do you dare to look them right in the eyes? Yeah. Oh, 'cause they will run you down, down to the door. Yeah, someday we'll run you down, down till you fall. And they will run you down, down till you go. Yeah, till you can't crawl no more. And where down we go, 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 go. Oh, where down we go, go, go. Say where down we go. Oh, 'cause they will run you down, down to your car. Oh, way down we go.
An abbreviated first look at the Starlancer Max as we're exiting the lower cargo hold that is designed to have the two elevators, one on each side of a walkway. We note that this door acts as an airlock for that room. However, the room that has the actual airlock, right here that I'm looking at now, does not have an air shield of any type, at least as of now, and this room would be vacated of oxygen. And that means that you wouldn't be able to get to your suit lockers just in front towards the front of the vessel that's just next to this. So it is interesting how many different ways this ship can open and how many different ways you can suffocate on this ship without a proper environmental suit on. So having a light armor is recommended, or a flight suit at the very least. This is the room with the suit lockers, as well as acts as your armory due to the weapons lockers for two-hand and one-hand weapons, and utility gear as well as a nice little ready bench there, which we've seen on more and more ships, and even down to the Zeus-size ships, we've seen those ready rooms. You can also note that ladder there, which is perfect for if there is no power. And you'll note that the ladder at the top of it has its own little mini airlock. So if you open the airlock here, or have this room and then the next room you open the door, you don't have the entire second floor vacating of oxygen. It is a shame that the Valkyrie doesn't have that same design, and I hope to see a pass on the Valkyrie in the future for that reason, so you don't vacate the cockpit area and the crew quarters every time you go to open up the rear ramp. You will note that there are two elevators here in the rear cargo bay, which is, yes, on the bottom of the ship on the Starlancer series. And this is closer to what you'll see across the Starlancers, as I understand it. So you'll have the Starlancer TAC as well as the Starlancer BLD that will enjoy at least this space, and it was described as 96 SEU. One of the things that has been noted is that the cargo can only, on this Max series at least, is designed to go on the left and the right. And in the center, there's enough space for a single Ursa to fit, but it is not an official cargo pad. So that is something that is disconcerting. You can note the pads that are on the floor for that area. These elevators are fine. They're a little bulky, but they are industrial elevators on a ship designed to haul cargo and be like a more utilitarian ship, so I totally understand where they're coming from. I note that the elevator does open in reverse, and we enter, as I coined the term, the box clock on the Polaris. It has kind of its own box clock here on the Starlancer, where there are 4 crew habitations, each with their own bathroom, on this circle. Interestingly, large, full-size style beds with 2 laying areas, although the far one you don't seem to be able to access just yet, but the one towards you works just fine. So that would give you 8 crew slots technically on the beds if you're willing to share the bathrooms and rooms, interestingly. Additionally, one of the other things about these beds is these spaces, these habitations, is that 2 are larger than the other 2. And we're going to go in depth on that as we continue this tour of the ship, if my power holds. So there was some sort of wires or a transformer or something that happened recently, just about an hour ago, where the power kind of flickered on and off. So I'm running this through. Hopefully it will get up on Veterans Day. We'll see. So here is a shower, toilet, and sink all in one. Some people that are newer to the project, when they notice these bathrooms seem to be nothing in them, they're like, oh, they didn't bother putting a toilet in, or didn't bother putting the sink in. Sometimes they convert out, and in the case of this, that's a nice touch. I'm trying to get the lighting to work. So traditionally on these newer ships, they have regular lighting, auxiliary lighting, and then emergency lighting. Auxiliary lighting is actually much more relaxed and perfect for habitations when you're trying to sleep, or have that mode, so to speak. And also the emergency lighting, of course, denotes that there's an issue with the ship and you better get fighting or get the heck off of it, one or the other. So the Habs each have a number, and once again, they are slightly different based on which side of the box they're on. And they also have, once again, each has their own hygiene, so they have their own restrooms. There is these little viewports on the sides of the elevators, interestingly, and that is what the deal is. Bathroom on the wrong clock. You see how these habitations towards the back of the box are larger. They have little storage shelves towards the front of the habitation, I guess, from the front door of the habitation. They have that one little extra space the other 2 do not have, which I find interesting. Senior crew would probably be on this end, and more or temporary or less seasoned crew would be on the other end, perhaps. Aside from the fact that the habitations are a little different in size, which means more storage space for little trinkets and more serious stuff, and more tools, in theory. There's no dedicated tool rack yet, but in the future, CG has indicated that they are considering putting like some type of modular racking and such, and other ways to do it. One of the good examples of that is the last year's CitizenCon pack included a pyrotechnic amalgamated weapons kit, utility kit that had a multi-tool theme with the pyro company, Pyrotechnic Amalgamated, that used to be there before the Pirates took over Pyro, and had multiple cutting attachments, and that also had a light on that box. So I could see you putting that on that shelf, for example, on a ship like this would be perfect. This is the infamous or famous, whichever you prefer, MISC bar, pool table, and dining table. It is clearly designed for players to operate this ship up, and it is extremely comfortable. The other ships do not have this, definitely not on the TAC. The BLD, they're a little more coy on what it has and doesn't have, but I suspect it doesn't have a full-size pool table and bar. Now, I understand that in some comments people have made about these pool tables that are not functional yet, and the bar that's not functional yet. What's the point? One of the things, I'll credit Mason on this, pointing this out, that NPC crew will need to have certain needs met. And a ship that has good hygiene, a ship that has some type of recreation, a ship that has some kind of feeding and subsistence is critical. And the better it is, the better your crew is going to be equipped, and the more crew you can carry. So in the future, that would be certainly something interesting. But that is speculation. It's very good, and I thoroughly believe that's the way we're going to go, at least to a certain extent, a speculation, but it is speculation. Now, as for players, as these little mini games come online for longer distance touring, I think it's a good idea, especially with a ship of this size, this class, and fuel. And you will probably want to have at least one other player on this ship. You've seen the scale of it. You've seen how it operates. We're starting to get to these ships of significant size where, yes, you could solo it, but it's not recommended to defend yourself, to fix things while you're trying to run away, or when you're just trying to do your job. Getting from point A to point B as a two-person versus one person, you may find yourself more efficient just keeping this thing running instead of using smaller ships or trying to skeleton crew 2 ships and running all the way across the ship every 5 minutes or something. So that's just my opinion. Take it what you will. You do it's your ship. You cap your own ship, whatever way you want to do it. You'll note there is another elevator towards this direction. You'll also note that's the top of the ladder we talked about with that airlock. And then these are your escape pods. They are MISC style escape pods, and I strongly suspect some of the influences here, including the doors with the windows and the escape pods, will eventually filter back to the Starfarers who badly need a pass, because they are horrible to walk around and get around. Not fun at all. You can note the bridge is very generous. You can tell it's kind of gives you everybody some space so they're not on top of each other. For those who haven't done multi-crew ships in a while or have never done multi-crew ships, you'll note that the pilot and the co-pilot kind of are spaced out from your remote turret stations. This is usually the way to do it, because if you pack everybody into the bridge, because everyone wants to go up to where there's visibility, although on a MISC ship, that's kind of easier said than done. But you'll note they have windows. You see this? The remote turret has its own little window. And I know you can jump in the remote turret and whatever, but it's the small things to me that count. There's windows all over this ship in very, very precise positions. The remote turrets have pretty good range, although they are, see that fin thing in the top center, right in front of the rear turret? It arbitrarily blocks the rear turret from helping to focus fire frontwards. I don't understand. And the TAC has the same kind of deal. I think the fin's gone though on that one, because it has the snub hanger. It has the hanger for the Fury or whatever else you're brave enough to shove in there that's bigger than a Fury. And although it does have these same weapons. So you'll see these weapons are not too bad. The turrets aren't too bad. Although, I'm going to point out the obvious here, there's little to no coverage on the bottom of the ship. So you have some pretty okay forward-facing linked firepower for the pilot or co-pilot to help coordinate with. The missiles are decent. And then you have these remote turrets that are nicely covering the top. And I think they're geared towards belly downing this ship. So this ship has that really unique cargo mechanism where it can deliver the 2 elevators downwards on the bottom of the ship, full of cargo resources. And as you saw in the preview, an ATLS strike squad landing on top of a Polaris hangar. Credit to Esdee and the crew over from Pipeline for letting me use that video. But once again, you can see this giant thing blocking you from putting this converging fire on the front and coordinating with the front turret. It feels like it's almost arbitrarily added to nerf this thing, being able to get too much DPS forward facing, unfortunately. So the forward turret kind of can aim forward for the most part, and assisting the pilot with its remote with their remote linked firepower. So that's basically what you got. Now, it's not meant to be a combat ship, but still, I just feel like aside from missiles, which you eventually burn through, well, pretty quickly, who we can when you're actually fighting, especially a player, and especially if half of them aren't even hitting because of server latency and lag suddenly spikes. I think it's just worth pointing out that this ship is just, it's equipped, but it's not. Don't look at the paperwork and think, oh, it's perfect, right? I feel like that's an important thing. Additionally, you just saw another limitation of this ship, but that's not me just picking on this ship. It's picking on all of them. This ship requires a larger hangar. When you're in those larger hangars, there's only a few of them. So when you're hailing to leave and exit and enter a place to make deliveries, like a large planetary landing location or a specific space station, what you'll find is that you have to wait for your gateway. So in this case, I'm waiting up to 200 seconds for my slot to come up where I'll finally be able to teleport this. And the best way I wrap my head around how this works, if you don't know already in recent patches, is that we're basically sitting in a giant elevator. So your personal hangar is like this instance place sitting in space. And just like in an elevator, it can teleport ridiculous distances and it feels like you're only going 5 feet. And once you get an opening, so it has a real world place, like, oh, you want to go to floor 2. In this case, it would be extra large hangar 3 entrance and exit. Then suddenly it would line up with that once you have permission to do so. And then this thing, then doors above you open and voila, you're in the real world. So if you're cargo hauling short distances, not long distances, because this isn't that big of a deal. 200 seconds is not a big deal if you're doing like super long distance hauling. But if you're just doing hopper flights back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, especially just space station to space station where you don't even have to enter an exit atmo, it may actually be a consideration that you may want a smaller ship that min-maxes the amount of cargo you can haul while still staying in a medium-sized hangar. Your home hangar is always going to be the bigger of the hangars, but the visitor hangars are always going to be the size of your, well, not always, but they should be the size of your ship, no larger. So if you're in a medium class ship, you may be able to get more trips done, not waiting for gateways, not waiting for the bullshit. But when you're planetside, moonside, at least just on the merits of the ship alone, having those elevators that can drop down the cargo, drop down suits, drop down whatever you need is really, really, really desirable. It gets the job done. Additionally, we've already seen people testing it out by putting seats in that area, turning it into a dropship. I want to urge that it's not technically a dropship, because dropships technically have a two-hand weapon slot, because in the future you won't be able to sit in the seat with a two-hand weapon on your back. And also, this is now me speculating, but I do believe true drop seats will allow you to carry medium or maybe even heavy armor, whereas they've already said multiple times, pilot seats, crew seats will not be able to carry medium or heavy armor. You'll have to put that away in a suit locker, which, as we've pointed out multiple times now, suit lockers may not be the best place to store something, especially if the ship is vacating oxygen in multiple places. All right, that's my quick rundown of this. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you to my long-term subscribers. And thank you to my power company. Take care.
So we're down we go, way down we go.